All right, Like a Boss. That's probably as exciting as the movie's gonna get. Just kidding. Um, this was a very interesting movie. Just really quick, and before I get into specifics here, when I saw the trailer for this movie, and I'd seen it a few times, just going to the movies. The first time I saw it, I think the audience reaction was like, ha 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 ha. Then the second time I saw it, it was like not one single laugh during the whole trailer from anybody. I laughed internally because I don't tend to laugh too out loud during a trailer. But yeah, so it kind of gave me that idea that this was going to be a mixed bag or really good or really bad. Wasn't sure. So going into this movie, I gotta say that it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was sort of like meh, in my opinion. And so let's put it into a movie better perspective for you, even though that made perfect sense, I imagine. You've got Bridesmaids and Girls Trip. At least this is my opinion of like what was really funny and what I laughed at equally. And then down here, which are the movies we don't want to remember, like A Bad Mom's Christmas or A Medea Family Funeral. Ugh. I would say Like a Boss kind of like was right there. Yeah. And so I'll explain more about that. I love the talent behind this movie. I really love Rose Byrne. I really love Tiffany Haddish, Salma Hayek, Jennifer Coolidge, Billy Porter. They're the supporting characters. I thought they were all very fun. I like everybody that's in this movie. And I like the director behind this movie, Miguel Arteta, however you say his name. He's an interesting director because he comes off of like a movie that is really good and really interesting, and then he kind of like does this movie that can be a hit or miss. Like he did this movie 2 years ago in particular, also with Salma Hayek, that I loved. It was called Beatrice at Dinner. It was one of my favorites of that year, and I really think you should check that movie out. It's so good. And then he comes out with this movie, which is such an odd comedy for him to put out, because I thought the comedy that was in Beatrice at Dinner was more his speed, and he should stick with something like that. But this was just kind of like a screwball comedy, just all over the place. Storyline was a bit of a mess. There was a storyline in there that had a really good message. I felt like it got lost in a very muddled script. And I just thought the acting was a little bit over the top, despite the fact that I love everyone that's in it. It just kind of felt forced a lot of the time. It wasn't so forced that I was like, but it wasn't just, because even though there are moments, I think, in Girls Trip and Bridesmaids, respectively, that there are moments where it can feel like it's being forced, but I think they're just such pros, because even the actors in those movies, one of them being Tiffany Haddish, who was in Girls Trip, even like actors like Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph have been in movies that have been down here. They're still great as comedians. It depends on, I guess, the movie, the delivery, maybe the script, I don't know, but I just felt that those two deserve to be up there, and Like a Boss had the potential of being maybe a little closer to the top, but it really wanted to land a joke so often that I just thought it kind of killed it for me. And that isn't to say that I didn't laugh. There were parts that I genuinely thought were funny, which oddly enough came more from the supporting players more than the leads. I thought Jennifer Coolidge and everything she did and said was so funny, but I think Jennifer Coolidge has that about her, that she's always that role in a movie where she's the one you just love in the movie, whether it's Stifler's mom, whether it's Paulette from Legally Blonde, whether it was on Two Broke Girls. I think she just is always somewhere in the project that she can make it really entertaining. But I think overall, as a whole movie, this isn't one that you have to see in theaters. If you're bored at home, you can watch it. It's not going to be the worst movie you ever see. I must say, though, I think what made it more entertaining for me in my experience was the audience, because the theater that I saw it with, all the people in attendance were having the best time ever. So they were laughing really hard, which I appreciated them enjoying it really, like, to that level, even though I was kind of like, okay. But this is definitely one that if you love Tiffany Haddish and Rose Byrne and everyone that's in it, who I love as well, then watch it for that reason. But again, you don't have to necessarily rush to see this one in a theater. You could just see it at home. Not the greatest film you're going to see, But it could be worse. There, like I said, there are movies that fall down to this level, which you don't even see my hands on the screen. They're not good. So it's kind of like right there. Other than that, it's whatever. That's all I really got to say. See it at home.